Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be talking about thinning seedlings.
Wait, what?
Yes, I know. Today's supposed to be part 3 of our chicken coop series. Unfortunately, I'm still waiting for parts to come in so we can finish that up. They'll be here next week. So next week, we'll be back with part 3 of our chicken coop series.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
But today, I want to talk to you about something that's very important in your garden beds, and that is thinning out seedlings and why it is necessary for a good harvest. Now, have you ever walked outside and looked at your garden bed and thought to yourself, wow, these seedlings are thriving? Well, hold on. Did you know that too many seedlings in your garden bed can actually hinder your garden's success? And that's why today we'll be diving into why thinning seedlings isn't just beneficial, it's essential for a bountiful harvest. Let's get started. When multiple seedlings sprout too close together, they're competing for sunlight, they're competing for water, they're competing for nutrients. This competition can lead to weak, leggy plants that are more susceptible to diseases. Thinning ensures that each plant has enough room and space to grow strong and healthy, which is what we want. Think of it sort of like this. Would you rather have a crowded room full of people trying to fight for space, or a comfortable setting where everybody has room to breathe? Obvious, right? Well, the same goes for our plants. So the best time to thin is after your seedlings have developed their first set of true leaves. Take a closer look and I'm going to show you what they look like. These are the leaves that appear after the initial sprouting and resemble the mature plant's foliage. So our tomatoes, for instance, here we go. Perfect example. When these guys sprout, they're gonna look like this. And if you can see, he is just starting to grow his true leaves right there in the middle, which end up looking like this guy. He has already got a couple sets of true leaves. So all these plants right here are ready to be thinned. So to do this, to thin out our plants, depending on how close or far apart the plants are, will depend on if you're just gonna snip it at soil level, or if you can actually grab the whole plant out with roots and all. The reason why you're gonna snip at soil level is if they're too close together. You don't want to disturb the roots of the plant that you end up keeping in the garden bed. So to avoid that and stress to the plants that you're keeping, snip the ones you don't want at soil level. If they're not that close apart and still small and they don't have a big root system yet, you can go ahead and pull it out. You just want to be very careful and gentle. You also want to do this recommended on a cloudy, overcast day or in the evening. Make sure you water your soil first before you do this. We just got a huge rain probably just a couple minutes ago, so now is a perfect time to thin this out. Remember, if you're unsure, it's always better to snip than it is to pull. The less disturbance to the root system, the better. Spacing is key when it comes to this, especially when utilizing square foot garden. For example, carrots need about 1 to 2 inches between each other. In 1 square foot, you can grow roughly 14, 15, 16 carrots, depending on how you're utilizing your space. But you can put a lot of carrots in 1 square foot. For tomatoes, in 1 square foot, generally 1. However, if you do it right and your pruning is good, you can fit 2 in 1 square foot. And remember, you can always check out your seed packet and look at the back to see what it says for your specific seedling. So check it out. There's our 2 tomatoes. Plenty of room. However, we will have to build some kind of trellis system here and here in the front for these 2 tomato plants. And then we'll have to make sure we prune these really good and obviously get this guy to grow up on this trellis system and then this guy to grow up on this trellis system while keeping our pruning nice, clean, and tight.
What do you mean by that?
And then here's our carrots. We got about 1 to 2 inches between each on both rows. So that's going to be a good harvest right there. I'm excited. I'm happy with this end product here, and I can't wait for these to grow into some beautiful carrots. Here's our onions. We didn't touch these because they got plenty of space. Like there's 1, there's 2. So we might have to take maybe him out, a couple here, but they don't really need to be messed with. We just had to do our tomatoes and our carrots here. I believe you could have about like 8 to 9 onions in 1 square foot, and we literally got like that much. And I think they're the small onions. They're not gonna be big old round onions. I think they're gonna be the small ones. We got it all taken care of. Seedlings thinned out. I think these are gonna thrive. I'm excited to see what happens. Now, another very important part of this process. Do not toss your seedlings in the trash, man. These can be used for some pretty cool stuff, and I'm about to tell you what and show you how. Many of these are edible and can actually be used in your food to cook with. They're great additions to your salads, some smoothies maybe. But if you don't want to do that, compost them. This is great compost for your compost pile, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna take our seedlings, we're gonna go toss them in the compost. Let's go. All right, we got our seedlings here, walking over to our compost bin, and we're just gonna sprinkle these bad boys right on there. And if you're lucky enough, you might get a tomato plant to grow up in this. You never know, man. Sometimes these grow out the compost bin and you come out the next, couple weeks later and you got a big old tomato plant growing from your compost, man. Mwah, delicious, let me tell you what. So now back to our garden bed after we composted those seedlings. Reusing thin seedlings is a great sustainable practice that will just benefit your garden in the long run. Thinning may seem counterintuitive, and I know a lot of people have been starting to opt for what they call chaos gardening. All well and good. At the end of the day, you got to do what works best for you, your garden, your family, and all that good stuff. However, since this is my first time growing vegetables and stuff, I'm going to take it nice and simple, and I think this is the most easiest way for me to be able to handle this and still get a good harvest for the family. I'm not planning on selling my vegetables. It's just for me and my family to eat nice organic vegetables that we've grown and we know where it comes from and what's in our food. There's no set rules when it comes to this, and that's the beauty of gardening, right? That's why we do this. It's just to enjoy being in the outdoors and watching something that we grew from the ground up. Right? That's why we do this. But in case you were at least curious or unsure on which way to go, hopefully this helped you out and you learned a thing or two. By giving your plants the space they need, you're just setting yourself up for a nice bountiful harvest. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for tuning into the channel, man. I hope you learned something new today. And if there's anybody out there that's got some tips for me, drop them in the comments, man. Or you just want to talk about your garden in general. I love to hear from other gardeners and DIYers. So drop them in the comments. Let me know projects you're working on, vegetables you're growing, and what you're doing in your garden. Is it chaos gardening? Is it thinning seedlings? Let me know, man. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning into the channel. Make sure you click that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, share this video with so many love. I'll catch you all next week in part 3 of our DIY chicken coop series. Peace.